Welcome to the Extra Point, the best Utah Utes football podcast this side of the Wasatch Front, sponsored by Public Coffee and presented by UteFans.net. Obviously, guys, we have a big win last night against Arizona State down in Tempe. First impressions of the game, Jordan Wynn.
Yeah, I thought overall, which is a good thing, it was relatively boring from a fan's perspective. Not a lot of drama, which is what you want. Utah came out, did what they needed to do. Dominant win, especially from a defensive side. Started fast, which was good to see. So overall, a good win for the Utes as they dive into conference play.
Cal Beck.
We knew that ASU's motivation would be under a microscope at the firing of Herm Edwards and the internal investigation, but I considered it a different type of perspective than Jordan just mentioned. I found it extremely exciting, especially when I was looking at the first quarter to see if we had another slow start. I would like to say Michael Mokafisi is my player of the game because on the very first snap, he had a pancake block which lit that drive up, and we did not look back from there. So thank you, Michael, for making that happen. It was a close second for Clark Phillips' pick.
That was an incredible play, by the way.
And it was fundamentally, if you break it down the tape,
gosh.
I could lecture. It was textbook perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Textbook. But Michael Mokafisi, thank you very much. And a pancake block is when they engage the defender and they drive them until they pancake them onto the ground.
So you mentioned, Cal, this week, not much of a slow start. We double our production as opposed to the last couple of weeks, and we've been asking these questions, well, what's making the difference? And it's kind of a hard question to answer, right? What do you think, though? What do you think changed for the Utes this game as opposed to the last two games?
Well, I mentioned it last week that what's the difference between two non-scoring drives in the first quarter versus 2 3-and-outs in the third quarter, which we ended up facing, and we're lucky that we ended up going for it on fourth down on their end of the field because our fourth down efficiency was 75%, which hid our 33% efficiency on third down. Now, we were 10th in the country on third down efficiency before last night, and we were lucky that we had the opportunity to go for it on fourth down. I honestly think that trick play to Kincaid on the flea flicker opened up the defensive zone coverages, and then our wide receivers started to run rub routes or crossing routes. Sorry, offensive-minded people. Crossing routes to allow them to open up in the man-beater routes across the field.
So, Jordan, tight ends continue to produce. Yeah. Obviously, Brandt goes down last night. It's a tough loss. We'll wait to hear what happened there. But what do you think about the production from the tight ends? I mean, Dalton Kincaid, and then we have Yasmin show up last night in a big way. What do you think?
I mean, Dalton Kincaid is a world beater, really. That second touchdown, I mean, Cam kind of closed his eyes and threw it up a little bit. Yeah, and Kincaid goes up and steals the ball out of the air. Look, again, we've talked about it before. It's not necessarily always about scheme. It's about the players. You get a good player like that, that's what's going to make the offense run. And again, just another stellar showing from Kincaid. I'm still mind blown that the guy went to University of San Diego. Nothing against University of San Diego, but
with no other offers.
No offers. Yeah. Goes to USD, winds up here, and now, I mean, again, we've talked about it on the show, but the guy's going to be playing on Sundays.
Absolutely. There's no question about that. And Cal, I got to ask about Thomas Yasmin comes in for Brandt, and he has that 72-yard reception. What happens on that play?
They ran a flood route to the near sideline. They had a deep route that was the receiver pushing off the deep coverage. He kind of snuck in on this shorter route, caught it, and he was able to spring it because the downfield receiver was conscientious of the play and got on their horse and came back and seal blocked so that allowed him to break down the sideline. I will mention, Jordan, it's been exciting to watch these players come into their own selves as we get deeper into the season. Like I teach my football players in high school, the difference between a good player and a great player is good players wait and great players create their opportunities. And we saw that on that touchdown to Kincaid in there. We saw it on multiple runs. Jackson at running back on the sweep. The other tight end stepping in. Yeah. And especially on the defensive side, we're seeing a lot of people get comfortable in their cleats and are willing to make those big plays.
Yeah, and I noticed when he caught that ball, I'm like, this guy's huge. I don't know how big he is, but, I mean, he had no problem, getting the D off of him and getting down the field almost into the end zone on that play.
Yeah, he brushed him off like dandruff. I mean, that's one of the last things that you want to see as a defensive back is a big guy catching the ball and turning upfield towards you.
Oh, man. He's a big. I mean, he's a big kid. We talk about it's not about the X's and the O's. It's about the Jimmies and the Joes. This game will always be about personnel.
Yes.
And you get guys like that in the program. let them do their thing. Let them do what you recruited them to do.
And I just have to mention, what Cal and I were talking before the show, that we've got depth at that position, very obviously.
Yes.
Insane depth.
Yeah, we've got a lot of depth at the tight end position, and we've got depth at the running back position. We'll get to it in a second. Obviously, I want to throw some love out to one of our favorites, Devaughn Vele. 6 receptions last night for 63 yards. Not too shabby. That guy can really create in space, like we talked about last week. I mean, he's a playmaker.
Totally. I mean, again, these big-bodied, receivers that can move and make plays with the ball. It's really just a testament to the staff for bringing these guys in and recruiting, and then let them do their deal. Get them the ball in space, let them make plays, and we're starting to see that as the season's gone on.
And Cam Rising, 19 for 29 with 2 touchdowns. He threw that 1 interception. But solid night for him, all in all. And then we were talking about the running game, Cal. Tavion Thomas sits out that first half, but still comes in right in the second half and does what exactly?
So what he sat at, he was still the team-leading rusher.
Yep.
And I'm not going to extrapolate or assume on what happened, but it seemed to be a good decision and a good way to move forward for all parties involved. It was exciting to watch Jackson get the ball. It was exciting to watch them rotate through that and then to see him come in with a re-energized focus and a run downhill.
Yeah.
I guarantee that film is not going to digest easily for the Beavers this coming week.
You got Tavion, Bernard,
Glover,
and Jackson.
Yeah.
Man, that's, I mean.
And Glover continues to be he produces.
He's
quick.
all 4 of those guys could be an every down guy.
Right.
And you got 4 of them. I mean, I know nobody likes hearing that it's going to be by committee, but my goodness, keep those guys fresh.
And
Keep those guys fresh.
And
let
like
them
you're
take
and like
turns.
you said, the Joes. It comes down to
Yep,
the Joes
that's
that are strapping up the chin straps. We are now seeing to see flashes of the future as well.
Totally.
Absolutely. And we have to throw some love out to Utah's defense.
Oh, my gosh,
Holy
another
cow,
dominant.
Jordan Wynn, walk us through Utah's D last
I think,
night.
we talked about just before, they had like negative rushing yards. They finished with 6 yards. I don't
6 total rushing.
I don't remember. I know Utah's done it before, but you can't feel good. ASU can't feel good as a whole anyway, as what's happening in that program. But you wake up Sunday morning and look, and you see you ran the ball for 6 yards. Again, kudos to the defense. They continue to do what they really do every year. Clark Phillips, that interception, that is a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. I mean, that's film study 1. I mean, he knew what was coming, but to be able to jump that route like that and make the play. Honestly, if he hadn't it was a face mask, I think, on that play, or something happened to what he might have scored. Yeah, like he might have scored if that didn't happen. Just an incredible play, and again, as you look at where the team is trending, they're trending in the correct way going into this Pac-12 slate that starts to heat up this week.
And just to clarify, Utah sacked ASU's quarterback 5 times.
5 sacks.
Forced 3 turnovers. Clark Phillips, a 3rd. And Cole Bishop intercepted passes, and R.J. Hubert forced a fumble. Yeah. So we look pretty good on defense,
Solid.
if I can say so myself.
I mean, again, ASU's a bit of a dumpster fire, but my goodness, that was dominant.
What about Kareem Reed? This guy's a monster.
Oh,
He's
my
good.
gosh.
Watching this guy play, he was all over the field. He led the team with 10 tackles. Bishop had a sack in addition to the interception, and then had to throw some love to Van Fillinger. He had a sack and 5 tackles as well. Before we close the segment, the extra point blessing, everyone. Jordan Wynn, yeah. Mr. Jordan Noyes is perfect on the season.
Hey.
On PATs.
Blessed.
Sir?
And
Blessed.
field goals. That's right.
Blessed. #blessed.
So we'll be right back after this message.
Hey, Ute fans, Cal Beck here once again, reminding you that when you are looking for the best coffee, mint limeade, or a burger with onion IPA jam, then you'll have to look no further than the famous and popular Public Coffee House in the shadow of President's Circle, where their in-house concoctions and food never disappoint rookies or veterans alike. Go Utes.
All right, welcome back to the Extra Point. We're joined by the one and only Mr. Devaughn Vele. Thanks for coming on, Devaughn. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're pretty good.
I mean, we're good. We didn't land at 5 a.m. in the morning, so
Yeah,
we're
definitely.
doing just fine.
I just have to say one thing before we open the segment up. Every single player we've talked on the team so far has had nothing but amazing things to say about you. And we're really pleased to have you on because it seems like you're a natural leader and you're a real playmaker and a great person. So
Appreciate it. Thank
welcome
you.
to the Extra Point. Let's open it up for questions. George.
Yeah, so I'm gonna rattle off 2 here. One is pretty straightforward. Being a San Diego guy myself, obviously, I feel like the program has always done a pretty good job recruiting San Diego. Talk us through, why do you think they have so much success, and what kind of drew you to the university?
You talk about success in San Diego?
Yeah, why are we able to pull so many guys? I mean, it seems like there's always a guy or two or three or four that come from San Diego and have impacts on the program.
I just think it's the culture out there.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a lot of guys are working hard. We got a lot of schools out there too as well, and a lot of exposure. We have the big name schools that kind of get us like the little recruiting, like Oceanside and Helix, Cathedral Catholic. You know, those big name schools. It definitely gets us some exposure, especially for the little schools. Like my school was a small school. Not a lot of people know about Rancho Bernardo. Now they do because Eric Weddle's over there.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say.
But before that, we were a really small fry school. Like my senior year was the first time we ever won a state championship.
Which is huge. I mean, there's not a lot of schools that have done that
Yes.
from San Diego. So
Definitely.
that's big for sure. That's awesome. I mean, I love having the more San Diego guys out here, the better. I
Oh, yeah,
always say.
definitely.
So, second question here, and this is a new one for viewers and listeners alike. I was watching a interview with Dana White, who runs the UFC, and he had a guy who's a human biologist, specializes in death dates, and he can predict people's death date within a month.
What?
My question to you, this is going to throw everyone for a loop here. If you could know your death date, would you want to?
Ooh, that's a great question. Like,
I'm coming with fire today, you fans.
I mean-
I'm coming with fire today.
Now, the context is it can be changed because of the blood work.
Correct.
So it's not, this is when you're going to die. Would you be willing to find out when your death date would be?
And
so
try
you-
to fix it,
So you could take
right?
steps
Oh,
to
I
elongate
see.
Like,
your
let's
life.
say, hey,
I
you're
see.
going to die in 50 years.
Unless you do
Unless you do this.
Okay,
yes.
okay. Yeah, I would like to know. Yeah, I would get me start exercising or something.
go,
Like
okay.
those jogs in the morning gonna be a little bit different.
Yeah,
now.
right? No, it's just, I was sitting there watching that, and I'm like, this is wild that this guy's correct within a month, they say. So, anyway, appreciate the responses. Cal, I'll turn it over to you.
So,
Sounds like you got some rapid fire.
Well, I've got
fun
one
stuff.
long one that was submitted
Okay.
from a fan. Cute Moose 65. Thank you very much. Here is the question. Highly decorated high school student and athlete from San Diego, California, a recruiting hotbed. Your physical stature is taunting. Any DB has to take a deep breath if they have to man you up. You got some more attention in the scheme last week, which is great. I personally think you should have at least 5 to 6 touches per game, throw the ball up, and let you climb the ladder. With that said and out of the way, I would like you to talk to the process of choosing Utah. You check all the boxes: devoted family, devoted to church, committed to your education, committed to athletic talents. Why walk on at Utah? I don't know your story, but your path has taken a tremendous amount of grit. If you would please share with us your personal journey, thank you, and go Utes.
Oh, that's a great one. I mean, after I came home from my mission, I was trying to figure out where I was gonna go school-wise. I didn't know if I was gonna take the JUCO route or if I was gonna walk on. And I had a cousin of mine that knew somebody that was at the Utah program that was a GA over there, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we can get you in. We can have you talk with the coaches, and we can show your film." And I sent my film to a lot of other schools, and they didn't reply back to me. They didn't give me a preferred walk-on or anything like that. They just didn't respond. And I went to Utah. I toured the campus and the facilities and everything. And after they watched the film, they only watched like a couple plays and like, "Yeah, you're good enough. You can come walk on for our team." I was like, "Okay, that sounds good to me." But even just being there, like, I just saw like the culture. How everybody is. Like, even in the locker room, like, everybody's like brothers. Like, you guys are always just messing around, like having a good time. And I even talked to some of the dudes that transferred out of here, and they all say the same thing. It's like, yeah, it's not the same. Like, the culture and the brotherhood that we had at Utah, it's not the same. Like, they practice at the other schools, but then once they're done, they're done. They don't really like talk with each other, do anything outside. But it's like here, it's a lot different. So I felt like that was the biggest thing that kind of drew me here, and the fact that they even gave me a chance, because I had some doubts coming back home. I didn't think I was gonna play anywhere, and I was like, okay, maybe it's just time to be a full-time dedicated student. But I'm just grateful Utah gave me the opportunity. I just had to make the most of it.
Well, you're definitely making the most of it, that's for sure. And I agree with, who is that? Cute Moose what?
65.
Cute
Yeah,
Moosey
let's get
65.
this man at least 5 to 6 touches.
And I'll follow up with that a doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. Thank you for not doubting in your skill set and bringing it to Utah.
Appreciate it.
So I have some rapid fire. So
Sounds
the rules
good.
are just answer as quick as you can. There's no tricks.
Okay.
Are you fast?
Yes.
Very good. You grew up in Indianapolis a little bit?
Yes, I was born there and then lived there for about 6 years.
For about 6 years.
Yeah.
Are you fast because you chased fireflies in the summer?
No, definitely not. I was definitely a homebody.
That's how
Yeah,
I
was-
ended up quick, was chasing fireflies in Indianapolis. What's your pregame song? Pregame go-to?
Oh, that's a great question. I actually listen to old school music when it's an easier way for me to calm down.
Define old school.
Like I'm talking like Earth, Wind, and Fire, like
Oh,
the whispers,
September.
the stylistics. You know what I
Okay,
mean? So
okay.
like
Little R&B?
Yeah, but I'll say Never Too Much by Luther Vandross. That song just gets me in a really good mood. So like, if you ever see me bobbing my head, it's not to rap music. It's just like I got an old soul. So
You just made my parents smile with that. Favorite home-cooked meal?
oh, that's a great question. It's probably a Samoan dish called sapsui. That's what I was. It's like noodles and corned beef. But
Really?
yeah, it's something I used to grow up eating all the time. So I've always loved eating that.
When you're done catching the ball, you catch 17 and you catch 21. My satellite nicknames for Bad Moon Rising's targets. You catch 17 and you catch 21. When you're done catching the ball, what do you want to do?
Like after everything's all said and
When
done.
when it's said and done, one way or another, what do you
I'm
want?
actually planning on going back to school and getting my civil engineering degree. And,
You
know,
want to draw
getting,
gutters and sidewalks?
I just want to do anything that deals with building and use my hands. I can't be in the office, man.
I like that.
I got some questions from. I just throw some love to UteFans.net's legendary message board. Maake said, "How do you prepare mentally for punt returns, and how do you sense when to call for a fair catch versus return it?"
Oh, that's a great question. It's actually funny. I actually wasn't expecting to ever be a punt returner for the team. You know, with Covey being here, like my first year, and then we had a lot of electric guys like JD and those guys. You know, I was just kind of like, you know, it's a small position. You don't really see a 6'5", 200-pound punt returner.
You got to be the biggest returner in the country.
Yeah, you got to be like small and like quick. You know what I mean? And so I just remember they just had me there because they said I looked really comfortable just catching punts. So I was just kind of a backup just for Covey. Like, if they ever put me in, it's like, just catch the ball. Don't even worry about running. You know what I mean? And then, you know, after he left, we tried out a few guys, and they were looking good, but they just felt like the way I was fielding the punts and the decision-making I was making, they just felt like I was the best fit for it. And, you know, when it comes to, like, making those plays, I will admit I'm a very aggressive punt returner. Like, I will wait until the last minute to try to.
You wait to the very end to throw your. Last night I was like,
Notice.
fair catch. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay.
It's like I wish cameras could see my eyes when I'm punt returning because you'll see me. I'll look up and look down like 5-6 times because I'm trying to see what lane I can hit. If the guy's coming at me, I'm like, okay, can I make him miss? If I catch this ball, I got to make a quick move, and if I can make him miss, I can get some extra yards. Yeah. So that's always the biggest thing. Like I always want to return the ball. Like I'm very aggressive. Like. The SUU, the SUU game actually made me laugh because like there's a few times I just kept catching the ball out of bounds, but it's just like I just love like fielding the ball. Like I love the feel of catching it and just trying to make that first guy miss. So, you know, I give a lot of props to the punt return team. You know, they bust their butts for me. You know, like their blocking it's not the easiest. I think that's single-handedly the hardest. You know. Segment in football is punt return because you get the most penalties and it's the longest play in football. Yeah. So you know, I give a lot of props to the guys. You know, they make me look good with all the blocking that they do for me, and you know, it's just me making sure that I make the most of what I can do. And I feel like I've been doing well. I'm waiting for me to get one where I take it back to the house. You know.
Oh yeah.
But you know, mentally at first I was a little bit nervous. You know, trying to come in and fill in for what Covey left. You know, Covey definitely left an imprint here.
Sure.
And at first I was like, okay, can I really live up to that standard? But, you know, as the games have been going on, now it's more so me not trying to fill in his shoes, but just trying to make my own imprint.
What a look into the mindset. For people at home that, I mean, I've never been in the return game, obviously. You fans know that. No.
Really?
But to be able to look up and track the ball and look down 5 or 6 times,
Yeah.
I mean, that's impressive, man, and not a lot of people can do that. And obviously your sure-handedness gives you the confidence to be able to do that. But everybody talks about you make the first guy miss. That's how you start it. But to be able to track the ball, try to find that first guy and be like, can I make this guy miss and find a lane? That's just an incredible outlook into the position.
And that quick flash of the fair catch, you can see the disappointment on the gunners, the people that are sprinting straight toward you, because they're watching for that signal, and they're like, I got it, I got him, and then you flash it, and they're like, oh, their body language is totally, totally deflated.
Yeah.
So
But that's a good example of a player that's creating the opportunity.
Totally.
And not waiting for his opportunity.
100%.
Yes.
and we're gonna throw you the extra point blessing.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
This,
Hey. Blessed.
this next week, right?
Blessed.
So we're looking forward to seeing what you do against Oregon State. Last question for this segment. It's my favorite question. From Greg and SLC on UFans.net. If you were a car, Devaughn, what make and model would you be?
Wow, you guys are asking so much. I'm just like digging into my soul, trying to like.
Oh, yeah. We're more about you as a person than we are as the
Yeah.
football player.
If I was a
Whole
car.
thing.
Oh my goodness.
These are not the questions you get in media relations.
Yeah.
No,
That's-
definitely not. You know, I was expecting
It's-
some like football
Yeah,
questions.
oh, yeah.
It's probably not a Prius.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh, I would say. I'll say GMC Sierra. That's like that's
okay.
I love.
Okay.
I'm trying to give me a truck.
Wow.
Like-
okay. GMC. Shout out GMC.
Yeah, so, but yeah, I'm a truck guy because I love the outdoors. I'm a big fisherman. So like back in San Diego, I used to go fishing all the
Where
time.
you go
with
fish
my
at?
dad. We usually go off of like La Jolla or
Nice.
we go
Money.
off of like Seaforth and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah. Money spots.
Oh yeah,
Great
definitely.
fishing.
So
That's awesome.
Well, Devaughn, thank you so much for coming on.
Appreciate
awesome,
you guys
awesome
having me.
player, even better person, and we'll be right back after this message. Hey Cal, where do you get the best limeade in Salt Lake City?
Right here at Public.
Mint limeade. Oh, my gosh. In-house. All ingredients in-house. Primo.
Come down to Public today and try their limeade as well as their fabulous coffee or some avocado toast.
The delicious flavors will be on an all-out blitz into every gap between your taste buds.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Ute fans, welcome back to the Extra Point. This is our final segment today. So let's talk Oregon State Beavers coming up this next week. Obviously, Oregon State has a tough loss last night at Hoosier Stadium up in Corvallis against USC. And what do you guys think about the Utes going into this game? Obviously, not a gimme. Jordan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, not a gimme by any stretch of the word. It's going to be a tough game. Oregon State is a program that knows who they are. Their identity is very solidified, and it starts with their head coach, Jonathan Smith. Went there, played there. They know what they're going to do, as well as everybody else does, but they still execute it at a high level. They run a lot of fly sweep motion, hand it to them, run inside zone, run play action off of it, a lot of bootlegs, and defensively, it's a very veteran group. From what I remember playing against Oregon State, they're a team that's going to keep everything in front of them. They're going to play a cover 4 kind of scheme and really make you march down the field and beat them. And essentially what they're saying is, we'll let you get 5 to 10 yards every play, but you're not going to be able to do that 13, 14, 15 plays in a row and eventually score. And their identity is solidified. They know what they're doing, and they're going to go out and try to do it.
Cal Beck, what about Oregon State's offensive line? We were talking about them before the show today.
Oregon State last year was well on their way to establish as being one of the most efficient and powerful offensive lines in the conference, maybe even the country. They've got some big hogs up there. They love to pound the ball down your throat. I don't know if all of those starters are returning, and also they have the air threat of Mr. Harrison, their wide receiver, who's a transfer from Florida State. He's their leading receiver right now. So they do have some different skill options, some different weapons. But I'm looking forward to our defensive line and our linebackers finally getting their hands dirty with an aggressive team that's going to try to do it their way and not adjust to what we will allow them. And their bend not break theory was an awesome was on example and on display last night, because you're not going to do that. And who ends up winning the game for SC? Hate to say the word, it was Oregon State's quarterback. So sometimes the best player on your team is on the other team, and that was the case last night.
Yep. SC was lucky to get out of that one.
They
Very
absolutely
lucky to get out of that
were.
one.
SC is frequently very lucky, I've noticed. Looking at you, SC fans. So, this game's going to be at Rice Eccles. It's a noon game next Saturday.
Homecoming.
Yeah, it's homecoming. Big game for Utah. Big game for Oregon State, too. We've got some momentum. Obviously, Utah's performed pretty well since that Florida loss. So we'll look to Utah to have a strong performance. But, we can't overlook the Beavers. I don't think that we will either. I think that Utah will probably be ready for that game. So to close out the show today, we have a new
Oh, boy.
a new
Buckle up.
a new feature. Get ready, Ute fans. We initially were going to call it Stump the Utes, but I think we might call it Stump Jordan Wynn.
There we go. Can I phone a friend?
So yeah, exactly. Now this
Cal
is
Beck.
not,
Get
I,
that
I
phone,
am,
Cal
I am,
Beck.
I am not Regis Philbin.
man.
So we'll start with Jordan.
Here we go.
So Jordan, who holds the records for most receptions in one game? And by the way, this is from a poster at utefans.net. Who holds the record for most receptions in one game? It's not David Reed, by the way.
Not Jeremy Brooks.
Not Jeremy Brooks. And I know you don't know.
Paris Warren.
That's
Nope.
a good guess.
That'd be my guess.
That's a good guess.
I don't know.
It's actually Lauren Ritchie from 1986
1986.
against UTEP. Yeah, you remember that game, right?
That was Brian Rowley's name before he changed it to Brian Rowley.
Really?
No.
1986. 1986.
So
Let's
he
just
had-
give a
he-
little
I-
fun fact here. I obviously was not alive. My father was 16 years old. So we want to talk about. Yeah, you got me. All right, fine.
Well,
I got
yeah,
it.
stump
Okay,
Jordan.
Yeah, you
Ding,
got me.
ding,
You
ding,
stumped
ding.
me, but okay.
So just
My
given
goodness. How many
some
catches did he have?
17 receptions.
Wow.
I was gonna say we got to give Lauren Ritchie some love. That came against UTEP in 1986,
Wow.
and that's
They
very
fed that man.
yeah, very cool stat. All right, so Cal, question for Cal Beck, the Rocket over here.
Shoot.
Who was the quarterback that Alex Smith replaced due to injury in 2003, and in which game was that?
2003.
Because Alex Smith was the backup,
Right.
and this we had a starter who went out.
I could see. You know what? I'm going to admit my ignorance. I don't know, but I'm going to get disappointed as soon as you tell me the answer.
Jordan, what's the answer?
Brett Elliott.
Brett Elliott.
Yeah, I almost wanted to say Darnell Arsenault.
See,
the thing-
but that
That's
was
who
a
I
little
first. But
prior.
then I was like,
Well, here's the
no,
thing.
Brett.
Brett Elliott was a great quarterback.
Great, really good.
He's an awesome quarterback.
Yeah.
Went on to have a pretty good professional career.
Yeah, no,
And
hung
he's
around for a while.
coaching
Yeah,
now, too.
Yep.
Good
question.
Yeah, I thought we'd throw some love to Brett. I was a big fan when he
Yeah.
played. He broke his wrist on the 2-point conversion against Texas A&M in 2003. And then Alex Smith, we lose
Yeah.
that game, and Alex Smith comes in and
Never looked
going to
back.
win the Mountain West Conference
Yep.
Championship. Okay, question for both of you. What player does Kyle Whittingham say he's glad he no longer has to face? This has got to be a wild guess one. You actually, I'll give you a hint.
yeah,
you
I
might
probably
know.
played against him.
You might know. This is from an interview with Kyle
When was the interview done?
a while ago.
A while ago. Man, Kyle's faced some.
But I'd like to see what you guys think.
Kyle's faced some dudes. Cal.
I keep wanting to say somebody from the team down south, and I don't want to mention
Yeah.
anything from down south. So
I mean, think about some of the guys he's had to coach against.
I'll give you a hint, Jordan. It's significant as far as your career is concerned.
Then it's probably from the. I almost just said a
Was he
bad
a
word.
head-
I almost said a bad word.
was he a head coach when he made this statement?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it's Andy Dalton.
Yep. Ding, ding, ding.
I'm glad I don't have to play against him either.
So thanks, you fans, for tuning in. Please stay tuned for our podcast coming up next week against Oregon State. And go Utes.
Go Utes.
See, they weren't that hard.
Oh yeah. Yo, you guys made me. I had to think a little bit. I was
We
like,
keep it light, but we try to, it's easy to say, hey, how'd you feel about the game last night? Or, like, we're trying to dive in.
tomorrow was for.
That's
you know, when
exactly.
all the
You're
people
gonna go to
come
the
in.
meeting tomorrow. Like, we're trying to get in depth here.